A Democrat congresswoman just launched her Senate campaign and watched it explode before it left the runway. Jasmine Crockett actually filed to run for U.S. Senate in Texas, and within hours, she went on CNN and told half the state she doesn't need him. Not a gaffe, not a misquote. She said it directly. When asked how she would win over Trump voters, she declared, "We don't need to," in a state that hasn't sent a Democrat to the Senate in nearly 4 decades. So what happens next is political self-destruction that you just got to see to believe. But here's what makes it so significant. By filing for Senate, Jasmine Crockett cannot run for her House seat in 2026. She just gambled her entire political career on flipping Texas blue, a state where John Cornyn won re-election by a 10-point landslide, a state where even Robert Francis O'Rourke, with massive funding behind him, still lost. The closest any Democrat has come was Robert Francis losing by 3 points, and that was considered a moral victory. Now Crockett thinks she's the chosen one. She kicked off her campaign declaring that people have tried 50 times already, but they've never tried it the JC way. Texas, of course, responding with laughter. Her policy positions include ending taxes for Black Americans and sending direct government checks based on race. She used Trump calling her a very low IQ person as a campaign slogan. And she's demonstrated she does not even know basic American history, including which party created Jim Crow. This is not a serious campaign. This is a publicity stunt that will end her career. And speaking of things that sound crazy but actually work, let me tell you about Good Brew. Between holiday parties and family gatherings, your gut takes a beating. Rich foods, sugar, and stress will wreck your digestion. And that's why you need Good Brew, the only probiotic that survives in your hot morning coffee. And the co-founder, he nearly died, right? He had to call 911 when severe acid reflux caused food to lodge in his throat. Doctors then wanted him to be on antacids for life. Instead, he discovered BC30 probiotic that actually works in coffee. Within 1 week, his acid reflux was gone. Every morning, you can fight back with one scoop, delivering 1 billion CFUs of beneficial bacteria plus organic fiber. I drink it every morning. No more bloating, no more heartburn. You can get a free travel size plus 10% off with code NEXTNEWS at goodbrew.com. That's GOODBRU.com. You'll find it linked below. Now back to Jasmine Crockett, because the reactions have been brutal. When she declared on CNN that she doesn't need Trump voters, Benny Johnson broadcast it everywhere. She told half Texas to go to hell in her first major interview. Critics pointed out that when your campaign announcement triggers more than laughter than support, you're not a candidate, you're content. Cat Turd even summed up what millions are thinking, asking where the fake ghetto accent went. The same congresswoman who lectures America about racism is now running a campaign built on race-based tax policy, while dismissing millions of voters as unnecessary. This is a self-awareness. The self-awareness is non-existent and only proves why Trump calls her low IQ. Here we have, this is just in like 6 hours ago. Jasmine Crockett tanks her just launched Texas campaign, tells Trump voters to shove it. She doesn't need them.
How you make voters who previously voted for Trump, particularly given that you have been an outspoken critic and he has inserted himself, just take your campaign video as is. He has inserted himself at every turn when it comes to your commentary. How will you convert those who are supportive of him to voters for you?
Yeah, I don't know that we'll necessarily convert all of Trump supporters. That's not our goal.
Do you need to?
Our goal is to definitely talk to people. No, we don't. We don't need to. Our goal is to make sure that we can engage people that historically have not been talked to, because there's so many people that get ignored, specifically in the state of Texas. Listen, the state of Texas is 61% people of color. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of good folk that we can talk to. We know that when Beto came really close, Beto, who is a progressive, we know that he got 65% of the Latino vote. So what did they do after that? They specifically went after Latinos. We know that he got close to 90% or right there at 90% of the African American vote. So Honestly, what we need to do is start talking to the vast majority of Texas. I think my message is very much a mainstream message. I don't know who disagrees with the fact that affordability is a real thing, except for the president, who says it's a Democratic hoax. But when somebody goes to the grocery store nowadays, whether it's in East Texas or whether it's right here in Dallas, Texas, or whether it's in Austin or West Texas, let me tell you, they are looking at those grocery prices and they are thinking we deserve better. Knowing that we do the amount of trade that we do in the state of Texas.
Oh, yeah. So Jasmine Crockett's going to do better than President Trump without his supporters. Makes perfect sense. Welcome to the show, Wesley Hunt writes. Jasmine Crockett, the next senator from Texas, must be able to stand on their record, their resume, and their accomplishments. He says, I'm ready to have that debate every single day. I'm ready to be judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character, because Texans don't hand out Senate seats based on identity politics. They choose the person who's most qualified, most proven, and most prepared to fight for them. Game on, he says. Here he is on Fox.
Charlie looked at me like...
Jasmine Crockett's been making a lot of news. She's a Democrat, represents southeastern part of Dallas, Texas, your home state. She revealed this when she found a job in the legal world. This is how she described it in her own words. I'll go ahead and play it and get your reaction.
When I first became a public defender, I had no criminal defense experience. And I walked in and I told my boss, Charlie, I said, listen, you should hire me. He said, why? I said, because I'm black. Charlie looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, let me tell you something. When I walk in, I'm going to walk in with a level of rapport and understanding that maybe some of my other colleagues will not. Charlie offered me my job and I worked my butt off and I worked really, really hard for all of my clients, not just those that look like me. And that is what it looks like to serve.
Maybe in the end she was qualified for that job. What do you think of that story and the way she recalls it?
Well, you can't have it both ways, and Jasmine and I just don't see the world the same way. I don't want to walk in a room and get a job because I'm black. I want to walk in a room and get a job because I'm qualified, because I am educated, because I have hard work, grit, determination, because I believe in this country. That's why I am a United States congressman in a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 20 points, and I just won by 27 points. And the reason is because of this. I am literally living Dr. Martin Luther King's dream. I'm being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. The people in my district don't see color. They see somebody that's going to represent this district to the best of their ability, regardless of what they look like. I never want to be demeaned for what I have done and the sacrifices that I have made for this country just because of the way I look. I want to be hired because of my acumen and my ability, and I'll end with this. I see myself as an American. I'm a proud husband. I am a father. I am a veteran. I am an educated man. I am a follower of Christ, and I'm also a black man. I am very proud of it, but I am all those things before that, because the number one thing for me is being an American, and I love all my fellow Americans regardless of race, religion, color, or creed, and we all should be treated fairly. Nobody wants a job based on the way they look. They want a job based on their abilities.
Wesley Hunt, march on.
Yeah, dude, that guy's got it in the bag. Him versus Jasmine Crockett, please. There's no contest here. Oh, speaking of no contest, here's no brains.
I know that I understood what was kind of pushing them there. And so I do want people to know that just because someone has committed a crime, it doesn't make them a criminal. That is completely different. Being a criminal is more so about your mindset. Committing a crime can come for a lot of different reasons. I understood what was kind of...
She says, just doing crime doesn't make you a criminal. Yeah. Let's see here. Tony posts this commentator. I'm starting to have a real disdain for Jasmine Crockett, this woman says.
A ghetto. You know, more and more every day, I'm starting to have a real disdain for Jasmine Crockett. She is such an insult to all educated black women in America. She perpetuates the stereotype of a ghetto black hood woman, something she is not. Let me tell you something. Jasmine Crockett went to private school, which ultimately means that her two-parent household, took the time to invest into her education. which ultimately means by geographical fact that your private school was probably somewhere in the suburbs. Which 9 times out of 10, I'm pretty sure she didn't even grow up in the hood. And as a matter of fact, she went to one of the best day schools in St. Louis, actually out of the entire country. Jasmine Crockett has had more privilege than any black American that I can ever think of. She legit grew up in the suburbs. Mansions. Her tuition alone, shit, per semester or whatever, cost well over $30,000. So why the act? It's a literal case of code switching. Now, I get it. You know, I do a little bit of code switching myself, but see, it's a time and a place for everything. See, all that popping of the neck and batting them long eyelashes, I don't know what this rhetoric that she's trying to perpetuate, I don't know who she's trying to give it to. Being all loud and country, like, are you trying to, I don't know if you're trying to relate to like your constituents, your black constituents there. I don't know what this is all about, but it's a complete disgrace for you to sit up here and perpetuate and make yourself seem lower class by acting and talking the way that you do, because you wasn't brought up to be that way. Your parents invested in you, and this is the way that you return the favor by acting ghetto. See, Jasmine Crockett is the reason why black people that live in the hood, such as me, have a hard time, you know, it being accepted that the fact that I'm a real educated black person that live in the hood, because I'm expected to talk ghetto. And here she is, choosing to cosplay. See, that's why Jasmine Crockett...
She's cosplaying. Oh, yeah. She's cosplaying. Jasmine Crockett using Trump's insults in her new Senate campaign ad. Do we have the ad? I hope we have the ad. This is Slay News. Let's see if we can dig a little bit deeper and find it. Here's the ad. Buckle up.
How about this new one they have? Their new star, Crockett. How about her? She's the new star of the Democrat Party, Jasmine Crockett. They're in big trouble.
But you have this woman, Crockett. She's a very low IQ person.
I watched her speak the other day. She's definitely a low IQ person. Crockett. Oh, man. She's a very low IQ person.
Somebody said the other day she's one of the leaders of the party. I said, you got to be kidding.
Now they're going to rely on Crockett. Crockett's going to bring them back.
Oh, did you see her like whip around? Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Look at her whip. Oh, I got you. You ain't going to talk like that about me. I'm going to run for Senate. Oh, dude, that's going to backfire so bad. Everyone in Texas is just going to laugh their asses off at her. I mean, they already do. She's the punchline. Here she is. This is where she's, I mean, look at this. Senate hopeful Jasmine Crockett wants to end taxes for black people and send them direct checks.
Taxes. Just this past week, I saw, I don't remember which celebrity, but it was actually a celebrity. And I was like, I don't know that that's not necessarily a bad idea, but I'd have to think through it a lot. One of the things that they propose is black folk not have to pay taxes for a certain amount of time, because then again, that puts money back in your pocket. But at the same time, it may not be as objectionable to some people about actually giving out dollars. Yeah. But obviously then you start dealing with the different tax brackets and things like that. And that's one of the reasons that, you know, we argue the reparations make sense, because so many black folk, not only do you owe for the labor that was stolen and killed and all the other things, right? But the fact is, like, we end up being so far behind, right? And so it's like, how do you bring forth people? Exactly. And so it's like, if you do the no tax thing for people that are already, say, struggling and aren't really paying taxes in the first place, it doesn't really, exactly.
They may want those checks like they got during COVID.
Exactly. Just this past week, I saw, I don't remember which celebrity, but it was actually
we're going to do that. We're just going to start handing out checks based on race. But it is official. Jasmine Crockett has filed to run for U.S. Senate. This means she can't run for her House seat in 2026. Nick Sortor writes, this ghetto piece of trash really thinks Texas is going to send her to the Senate. This is going to end up being career-ending for her.
Calm down.
You just voted to do
Y'all did
it.
it first, so you
You
don't want to talk
just
about it.
voted to do it.
Order.
I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at calm down. Calm down.
No, because this
I
is
would
what
like to
y'all
get
do.
through proceedings.
So I'm trying to get
Miss
clarification.
Crockett, you're not
Y'all wanna
recognized.
play
Miss
games?
Crockett.
I can't hear you with your
And
yelling.
You don't want
calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can you please calm down?
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look,
come,
Chairman,
if I
can
come
we
and
send her
talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
Mr.
Order.
Chairman.
Sorry.
Chair,
I don't know why
okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognizes
Not cute.
Miss Green for 4 minutes and 21 seconds. 4 minutes. Let Miss Green talk, and then you all can. I'll recognize.
But I moved to strike her words for a second time based on her second set of personal remarks attacking another member.
Yeah, she can't even handle herself in committee. You see, Jasmine Crockett just bet her entire career on a delusion. She abandoned her safe House seat to chase a Senate fantasy in a state that has rejected Democrats for 38 years straight. She told Trump voters she doesn't need them. She promoted race-based tax exemptions, and then she used the president calling her low IQ as a selling point. This is not a campaign launch. It's a career disaster that was broadcast live for the nation to witness. The JC way is apparently to fast-track yourself to political irrelevance. Now, the story matters because it exposes exactly how out of touch the modern Democrat Party has become. Jasmine Crockett looked at Texas, a state trending more red every cycle, and convinced herself she could flip it by insulting half of the electorate. She proposed policies so radical that they would make segregationists blush. Tax exemptions based on skin color, government checks distributed by race. And when given a national platform to make her case, she declared millions of voters irrelevant to her strategy. This is what happens when politicians live inside ideological bubbles. They mistake Twitter applause for actual support. They confuse viral moments for voter enthusiasm, and they destroy their own careers chasing fantasies the real world already rejected. Jasmine Crockett will not be a senator. She will be a cautionary tale. So I ask you this, is Crockett's Senate run the most delusional campaign of 2026? Yes or no? Comment below. And visit the Next News merch shop, linked in the description.